in your opinion, have South American or whatever country, have they been taking advantage? In your opinion, do you think they've been taking advantage of the United States as far as shipping criminals off here? Or do you think the border policy is a little too lax that there have been? Now it's probably maybe we're a little bit more filtered from it, being from where we are, Northern Virginia, right? So we wouldn't see, we're not as close to the border, right? Do you think it's a possibility that countries have been taking advantage of the laxness as far as the American border and allowing people to come into the country? Do you think it's possible that countries could ship criminals here purposely, or to set up criminal enterprises here, right? Because it's so easy to get into the United States, like,
would that be
could
easier
this?
than putting them in jail?
Yeah, but jails cost money. You have to have resources for jail. I mean,
But they
if
got
I,
them, right? They have the jails. Why would it be easier to
I don't know.
ship them into
I'm not
America
saying
where
like
they
to
might,
jump.
where they, hold on, let me finish. Why would it be easy to ship them to America where, one, they'll have to get them over the border secretively, and then two, they might just be deported back? Why do if the
Well, a lot of
government,
these
are you
people have
talking
been
about the
here for years.
government having these people? No, you're talking about the government
Anybody,
having
it could.
criminals and shipping them to America? That's the
When
question.
you have okay, Dr. K says the USA has one of the worst, strictest border policies. It is super hard to get here. Well, apparently not if people are getting here in droves illegally. You know what I
Hold
mean? It's
on.
got to be
That's it.
some way they're getting in.
All
Like,
right,
how is
here. Hear
that?
me out, D. Hear me out, D. Hear me out, D. Let me just say, what if the whole droves and illegally is like
Mhm.
propaganda, and like they're not actually droves, and yes, it's a lots of people, but that's just how people are. They come in groups. And what if it's not illegal if all it takes is for them to be processed? Then they're not illegal. Like
Now,
the
say
main
somebody.
issue with the Trump administration that I can say right now for a fact is a lot of people that are saying are illegal immigrants are not illegal. They have paperwork or they're on a waiting list. That doesn't make them illegal. That makes them a lot of people who need processing, but that is far from illegal.
I'll give you that. But say somebody came here legally 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
right? They had a certain amount of time they were supposed to be here, and they just stayed past that amount of time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they're not a criminal. They're not breaking any laws, right? They are a law-abiding, person, right?
So you
So,
talking about Elon Musk or are you talking about
well, anybody
somebody else?
who's from another country who could possibly be deported back to somewhere else, right?
Yeah, like maybe
Um,
a person who came for college, overstayed their visa.
right, something like that.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I mean, there's
I think
levels to
numbers
this
wise,
shit.
it's not that many
It
of them.
doesn't have to be that somebody snuck under the gate to come here illegally, or like snuck in the back of a trunk. You know what I mean? Um, it's
Yeah.
levels to it, and yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I
Well, I
yeah,
guess
I
like
don't
here to
know.
answer your question, to answer the question, like not really, right? Like I know there are a lot of immigrants, but like that's kind of how America has always worked. America has always
100%.
had a lot of immigrants, right? And
Oh,
everybody's an
100%.
immigrant until they live here, until they're a citizen,
No,
right?
100%.
So it's always kind of been the case. Like America has always been known as a nation of immigrants. I will say that like um if there's a delay and there's a problem with people not being processed. But for me, if either side actually cared about dealing with it, I'm talking about the Democrats and the Republicans, like on both sides, the solution is simply funding the border, and not in building walls or putting people in the desert and putting like metal fences and razor wire in the water. I'm talking about like funding the border. So we have judges and we have attorneys and we have all that's needed there, and we to fund the process of immigration. That way, the people who come here, their trials can be heard. Right? They're not waiting 6 to 12 months or longer for intermittent court dates where they're just kind of hanging out, living their life in between. If that's the problem, which the right says those people who are doing that are illegals. They're not illegal. They're waiting for their turn for processing. That's just how it works. Fund it. Put the money there, and let's find out. Let's find their stories. Let's figure out if they're here for asylum. Let's find out what the situation is, and give them a pathway to citizenship so they can become contributing members. That's my answer, right? Like, when it's just like, oh, are they illegal or illegal? It's too black and white. Like, it's too like that's propaganda shit, man. Like, they're not. It's not true. If it is true, it's hugely misleading.
The court system does tend to. The court system does tend to just work in black and white, though. There is not a lot of room for a gray area. You know what I mean?
I disagree.
It has to be either this way or that way. And
why do you say that?
Well, because you have to tend to kind of scoop people into one box or the other as far as the court system is concerned, right? Like, because like you said, people are so many cases are waiting to be processed. We don't have time to go into the semantics of each and every one. We kind of.
Well, what if you had more people to have the time?
And to your point, I think if they wanted to solve this problem, I think they could. Obviously,
they could.
Right? And I don't think
instead we got like Gestapo. We have ICE running around grabbing.
I'm just going to throw this idea out there, and I know that us as multicultural host of the Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast, we don't really, identify with this issue, but there is the issue as far as, let's look at these people who are in power now, the European, right? The so-called white American.
White people.
I think they are, obviously worried about their population, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, now when you have to start, when you start clamping down on borders and sending people back to where they go, white people are a decreasing
majority.
Percentage of, they're the majority, but they're a decreasing percentage of the world population, right? So, like, this is a white man's country, right? Like, when you look at a bunch of these pictures of the inauguration where Snoop was performing and all that, like, a lot of white people there, So
that's because that was a fucking white ass inauguration. They're Republicans. They white, nigga. Like, Republicans are white.
The hand of power is still a white hand, you know what I mean? And they want to keep it that way, So let's get some more whiteness in this bitch. Let's get rid of all this color. It's too colorful in this motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Like, you heard the whole.
I'm joking, but I think that plays a part in it too.
No, you're 100% right. That is, in fact, you dead on. You dead on. The great theory. Dr. K just dropped it in. The white replacement theory. You heard of that, right?
Not in particular.
Joe Rogan talked about it. Elon Musk talked about it. Every rich white person talked about it. It's a white replacement theory. It's the idea that you just laid out. What you just said is the white replacement theory. The idea that white people, the number of white people is decreasing, and these grounds are just making more babies, and we're gonna run out of white people. And when that happens, they will do. The brown people will do to us what we did to them, right?
We'll start breeding white people. Yeah,
it's not true. Like, it's not true, right? Like, here, it's just white people being scared and white people finding a reason to be racist, right? Like, who the fuck cares if there's more white people or brown people or whatever the race, right? Especially when it comes to hurting people. Like, here, in fact, I would argue that alone is the drive. The white replacement theory, which you just laid out, is the main drive behind the Trump administration, behind this current administration with Trump and his all his people backing him, Doge, all of this shit. Like, it's all about their whole worry. Like, I don't know if you heard about the initiative to give, what did they say? They said they wanted to give women $1,000 to have a baby. You heard about that?
I think I saw like an article about that. I thought that was in like China or something like that. No, I'm tripping.
Nope.
But
that
yeah,
was
I
here.
remember seeing something like that. Yeah.
That was Trump talking. That we're gonna give y'all a benefit. We're gonna give, because they scared. They
Because
scared
when you
about
look at
losing
it,
white people.
when you look
And
at it,
they're
in
also
any
not right. They're just talking the only, if it's even true at all, that white numbers are decreasing, or that the numbers of babies are decreasing. They're not talking about people of color. Like, they're talking about specifically Anglo-Saxon, like super whites.
yeah,
They're not counting mixed. They're not counting all this other stuff. And that's like inherently
super
like Nazi
Aryan
as
kind of
shit.
look. Yeah.
Yeah, it's inherently Nazi shit. Like, this is
And
exactly what the
it
Nazis were
all
worried
feeds
about.
back into this kind of racist ideology, which this country and the Trump administration and the people who back him, this country was founded off of is racism, bro.
So
It
when
does. It goes back
those
to class.
defunded USAID, people have problems with USAID, but USAID kept people around the world fed who needed help. People are dying because they defunded this, and particularly brown people are dying. They have the Gestapo running around black bagging black people, or not even black people, but like people of color, right? They're working their way around the black people, because you saw they just defunded Medicaid, and they just defunded like all the benefits, all the social programs that our people who have been like historically disenfranchised. They slashed the shit out of that job, right?
Mm-hmm.
They even broke fucking what do you call Sesame Street. I'll give you two guesses why. Right? It's just like, that's is their prerogative, is to do white supremacist shit, man. And it all falls on line. So then when they start talking about, so just to bring it back to what we were talking about before, when you're dealing with the whole like lie of legal immigrant versus illegal immigrant, and the reason they're not funding the system, it really comes back to that same root. It's the white replacement theory, right? It's their biggest like fear. So don't believe them when they say things, because if you really want to think about anything they say, you're like, yeah, maybe they mean what they say. They don't.
Yeah.
Like, stop
So of
giving
course
them the benefit of the doubt, because they lying.
you know, that's what these people do, man. They tell lies. They're in the business of controlling media. We were talking about how certain media outlets seem skewed, you know, one way or the other. And, you know, that's why you have to appreciate free, you know, press outlets such as the Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast or any other. You know, we have to really thank YouTube, you know, and things like TikTok, where people can share ideas, because it's hard to know what to trust. It's hard to know who to believe. I mean, you'll look at one news outlet that'll say tariffs are helping. They're, you know, helping to incentivize American goods. And you'll look at another news outlet to say that tariffs are marking doom and gloom on the horizon for America. The inflation is going to happen, and that the economy is going to go into a recession. And as an everyday, you know, American citizen who, you know, tries to strive and take care of himself and his family, it's hard to know who to believe. It kind of either makes you, you know, not even pay attention to it, because you don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? You feel like you're just, you know, a leaf blowing in the wind. Like, okay, which direction are we gonna go in today? You know, let's see what happens.
Here's the tricky part, man. Let me just, sorry, man. I like, you're right, and I know that fucking feeling. But like, that's when I feel like, when you try to like understand both sides, that's where they fucking get you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to realize one side ain't playing fair.
Neither side's playing fair.
Stop.
I think that there's two sides of the same coin.
Stop. What are you talking about?
Neither side, they're both playing the same game. It's the same game.
What do you mean by sides then? What do you mean by sides?
With the people who, there's two sides right now. There's two sides: the people who support Trump and the people who don't. Those are the only two
No,
sides.
false. Nope.
Those are the only two sides, bro.
I know
Okay?
you're wilding, dude. You're wilding. It's not the only two sides, man.
Dude, is there
not the only two
middle?
sides,
Is
man.
there a middle ground? What's the middle? Who's in the middle?
Yeah,
Who's
the way I see it is
who's the neutral faction?
Chuck Schumer, the head of the Democratic Party.
He's
that's
neutral?
the middle. That's the middle ground. Yeah, Hillary Clinton. That's the neutral ground. That's neutral. No, you think that they're anti-Trump. That's how they get you, son. I'm telling you. Hear me out, bro. That's how they get you, man. Like Hakeem Jeffries, like these dudes who are like centrists, and they're playing the game you were just saying, right? You're saying like, hey, maybe they mean what they say. When Trump says they're illegals, we have to. They're murdering the immigrants are murdering our good American women. We have to, and you're like, that's kind of ridiculous, but I'm sure they mean well. Well, no, it's a white replacement theory. That's what they mean. They're not saying that shit. And Hakeem and the centrists, the liberals, we call them like the liberals. The liberals. We think, oh, they're all for free love and they don't want universal health care. They don't want to raise the taxes on the billionaires. They don't want to fund school programs. They're fucking on the right. Like they're on the conservative side.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll talk a good game as far as like, oh, we should on superficial shit. I don't know. Like what fucking Juneteenth. Yay! They'll give you Juneteenth.
You know, I was thinking about it. Juneteenth is still kind of a slap in the face. Just even from the
naming. It's 100% slap. Nobody asked for that shit.
Even from the naming, Juneteenth. The name of the real goddamn word, man, Juneteenth. Like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Juneteenth. Did we vote on this? Did we vote on this name, or was there like a national
all
vote
words
held?
Are made up.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just Juneteenth. It sounds broken Englishy. It sounds like slavery kind of speakish. Like you didn't really, massa, sir. You know what I mean? Like massa. You know, it sounds kind of like that broken English. You know, that you did Juneteenth. What day is this, sir? Juneteenth, sir. You know, like it's just I don't know. I was thinking about that shit the other day. Like, it pissed me off. I was like, Juneteenth. Who asked for this shit?
Nobody. You know? That's a fucking problem. That's the problem with it. Who asked for this? Nobody. On this? There's nobody in the conversations about raising school funding. There's nobody in the conversations about universal health care. There's nobody in the conversations about reparations. That was like, you know what would help though? Juneteenth holiday, federal holiday. That would really get the white people on their side for reparations. I fucking thought that shit. Like, what are you talking about? But he threw that. Joe Biden. I say like. They're not. So here's the way I see it, right? And I'm sorry, I'm ranting. I've been through a lot, man. Just watching this whole thing, but like the way I see it, you have the left, you have the center, and you have the right, right? And this is the Overton window, right? And the way I see the left are the people who are progressives, right? The people, the far left, and this is not 100% true. Like, of course, everything's just like kind of like gauged, but the way I see the left are the people who want social programs to be increased and funded. People who want people to be able to love who they want, for LGBT and trans people to be like left alone, for socialism, like social programs, like to be able to be fully funded, like universal health care to break the fucking our healthcare system so we can have it so everybody gets healthcare no matter what without breaking us, right? Without the middleman of the insurance, right? The insurance is just a capitalistic mechanism to disenfranchise people and like things like that. And then you have the right who are conservative. They believe I guess you have to deal with fiscal. I mean, with like financial versus social. But
Mm-hmm.
like financially, they believe in decreasing taxes, right? And immediately like a person hears that and they're like, oh well, I want my taxes decreased,
Mm-hmm.
but at what expense is the question, right? Like to what end do you want your taxes decreased? Do you want your taxes decreased to the point where the school is shit? Right? Do you want your taxes decreased to the point where there's no social programs to help people in need, so the people there will just be more people on the street
Mm-hmm.
begging for a dollar, right? And it gets on the and on the right on the social side, right? They're worried about being able to. They're worried about freedom of speech in the realm of being able to say nigger. White people may say nigger and call racial slurs, and not in the realm of being able to speak freely or protest, right? And that's the way I see it. I see it as the economy of like of social values being expanded versus social values and social support being decreased. And if you look at it like that, there's really only one side that's is the correct side, right? The side of the people, like the side that helps people, regular people. And that's not the right. All right, sorry, I'm done ranting. Anyway,
Yeah, you good. That was definitely informative, man. I mean,
I just like it's easy to get caught up in this shit because they're always going to be like the you're right, like the two sides, the Democrats and Republicans, which I think you were talking about, right?
mm-hmm.
Like the Democrats are on show they're against Trump, but they vote with him, right? They vote with them all the time, especially especially the fucking centrists. Like they'll vote with this motherfucker all the time. There's so many Democrats that are on their fucking pockets because they're being paid by the same benefactors.
Mm-hmm.
Those lobbyists are what run shit. Those lobbyists are not for social programs. So you gotta expect those lobbyists are on the right and the conservative side. So it's progressive versus conservatives, progress versus restriction. That's the dichotomy. And yes, most people who are against Trump are on the left side. They're on the social side, right? The side of where more people getting more things is good.
Mm-hmm.
And then the right side is the conservative side, where lets people get less things, and it's pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and it's we'll hoard the money here, and if you could make it over here from over there, sure, but here's some more obstacles you get if you can.
Yeah.
Wow.
100%, man. You're definitely right. All right, so look, there's a article that I saw from Politico. I don't know if you want to pull it up real quick, man. It's called Promises. Nah, I didn't into chat. Just type in Politico promises kept, broken, and TBD. So it's defining Trump's first 100 days in office, and it's broken down into bullet points and all his major decisions in his first 100 days in office. Okay. And it also tells you whether he broke it, kept it, or whether it's to be determined. So it's a pretty good list, and it goes over a lot of his major decisions he's made. It's an article from Politico.
All right,
let me just go into the first one real quick. Start the article. In his first 100 days, President Trump has delivered on hundreds of promises and already accomplished his two most important campaign goals. The border is secure and inflation is ending. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt said. The next 100 days will consist of trade deals, peace deals, and tax cuts. More American greatness is on the way. Promises made, promises kept, ? Here's a look at Trump's first 100 days in office. Transparency. Promise. Disclose who funded his presidential transition. And that promise was broken. Trump took the unprecedented step of eschewing federal funding for his presidential transition, which allowed him to sidestep the mandatory disclosure requirements every administration in modern history has followed and accept unlimited donations from individuals and corporations. That already sounds bad. So he did not disclose the funding for his presidential transition that every president in modern history has followed, which allowed him to accept unlimited donations from individuals and corporations. Although his
That's the
team
same shit he
pledged,
did last time, didn't it?
I
The
think
last time it
so.
was allowed.
Although his team pledged to voluntarily disclose the private funds they receive to finance the massive turnover of power from former President Joe Biden, Trump has yet to do so. So I mean, damn, he might have pocketed a lot of that money. I don't know if he would have needed to. Were you able to find the article?
It's never. Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's never about needing the money. Like it's once you pass a certain, it's never about needing it. They do it because they can. Like you pocketed that shit straight up.
Next act, trade. Promise, enact tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China on day one. Result, TBD. So the president didn't impose any tariffs on his first day, although he signed a lengthy executive order launching a number of trade probes. So, okay, let me ask you this. Do you agree that is it possible that countries have been taking advantage of America's trade policies as far as, you know, what we export to them versus what they import to us? I think it's 100% feasible. In a capitalist economy, I think countries have definitely been taking advantage of America because what is produced here in America? You know, when you go to all these stores, these Walmarts and these Targets and these Dollar Generals and these dollar stores and all these stores we like to shop at and buy gifts, what is ever made here? You know what I mean?
Let me
I think countries are definitely taking advantage of trade policy with America. And I'm not an economist, obviously, but if there is anything positive to take out of these tariffs, or I have yet to see a downside. I think that
let me put it like this. Like so I'm not an economist either. Say that. I took economy in college, took two courses of it. I don't remember shit. That shit was fucking witchcraft to me. So but let me say this. Here's an analogy I heard about how Trump is approaching this whole trade deficit issue. One, the numbers he's citing don't have any really grounding in anything that makes sense to the economy. So when the economists who are not in his administration look at what he's talking about, they're like, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Right? Like we have the same information he's got. I don't know how the fuck they're getting these numbers. So there's that. And then there's this analogy I heard that that for me made me understand like why what he's saying about the so-called trade deficit between the countries is different, right? So the analogy was, say you have money, right? And you go to a store, right? And you go to the store and you have the money and you're like, I'm going to buy this product that the store has, right? And so you purchase the product, and in the store, the shop is like, okay, now what are you going to sell to us? And you are like, I just needed the stuff I wanted to buy. What do you mean sell to you? I don't need anything from you're like, I don't have anything to sell you. I'm not selling anything. I'm just purchasing. Like I just wanted to buy a thing. And they're like, no, hey, we need to sell to you too. Right? We have to sell to you too. Otherwise, this is not fair. Right? And so that was like that's the idea of like, you know, what Trump is saying is that like the trade deficit is like we are selling or we're purchasing from these countries, but they're not buying from us enough. Or we need them to buy more from us. We'll keep buying things from them that we need, but we want them to buy stuff from us. And they're like, but we don't
I don't need
need
shit from
anything
you.
from you.
Yeah. Hey, Dick, hey, come on,
And
man.
he's like, well, fuck
Dude,
you.
yeah,
I'm gonna put a tariff on you because you don't want to buy shit from me.
yeah,
All right, but I don't need this shit from you. I just gave you money.
That's a nice way. That
Like
was a
they're like,
nice
I
way.
just gave you money.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would I need to sell something to? What do you mean? And yeah, so that was an analogy I heard. I thought it was pretty good. It made
That
it
was
make sense to
definitely
me.
entertaining it out. Yeah, that made it make sense. Yeah, like
So it's
I
just
just
like
told you some shit. Yeah, it's like the fuck. I don't need nothing
I
from
could just
you.
gave you
Yeah.
money. Like what the fuck you mean you buy something else from me? So yeah.
Yeah, and I guess in that sense, I kind of get it. And if you put it in layman's terms, it's kind of like okay. Now, as far as long term, consequences this could have on the economy, I guess that is TBD. Um, I mean, we'll see. I was saying before we started recording, I think in a consumer economy such as the one that we live in, maybe it
America.
will, when things do start going up, maybe it'll teach us what things are important, what things we need versus the things that we want, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's tricky, man. It's tricky, like, because you have to have a basic understanding of economics, which I definitely do not.
Hey, most people
I
don't.
think
You
I'm
know what I'm
able to
saying?
comprehend.
Hey, D, don't feel bad. Trump doesn't either.
I think I'm able to comprehend definitely from people like you with that simple analogy you just said. That made more sense to me than any well-spoken Harvard economist I could listen to. You know what I mean? So, um,
I ain't gonna
but
lie. I
yeah,
got that shit from Hassan Piker.
hmm yeah.
You know,
Yo,
you're the streamer, the Twitch streamer. I
I
heard
need you to buy
that's
something
what I
from
got
us.
the analogy from, yo. You say like the fuck I need to buy
But
something
I
from you
don't
for? Like, what
need
do you
nothing
mean?
from you. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, why you not
um.
buying things from me too?
Okay, next promise. Blanket tariff of up to 20% on imported goods and at least a 60% tariff on Chinese goods. Promise kept. On April 2nd, the president rolled out a 10% baseline tariff on all imports, erecting a significant new trade barrier for exports to the U.S. that is forecast to reduce global trade and increase prices. On China, he went well past 60%, eventually setting a 145% tariff on goods from the world's second largest economy. I think since this article that has come down, all right, didn't it go down
Yeah.
from 145 because China put this like 160% on us and then they came down. So a lot of it's posturing too, you know.
I mean, this is what we call definitively a trade war.
Yeah,
It's like,
hence the
oh,
word
fucking
trade
trade war. Let's do it.
because it's all up in the stock market and we'll promise this and the market reacts this way and then they promise that and the market reacts and we see what happens back and forth and but it's scary when you think about it because for people who don't understand, such as myself, it's like it sounds all doom and gloom, man. It's like the economy's going to crash, the economy, and it flies over your head because you're like, well, shit. I mean, I'm paying my electric and I'm paying my taxes and I'm renewing my car insurance, and you know what I mean. It's like you're trying to get by, and you hear all this trade war, and you're
And
like,
Trump out here fucking around with some shit he ain't got shit to
yeah, it's
fuck
like,
around
yo,
with.
stop fucking
You
with
about to
shit, man.
fucking shake the house, nigga. Like, why you fucking with the ground, nigga? Good fucking shaking the house, nigga. What are you doing?
But to his okay, from just my simple
Don't do
understanding,
it.
it
Don't
doesn't
do it.
sound. I'm not saying I agree with him, Juice, because I don't think he
I
knows
know.
either. I think he's just following his advisors and he don't know them. He don't know. I think he has an understanding somewhat because of his business background, his business acumen. But you know,
Real estate.
this is well, I think he has a basic understanding of like the economics of it and how this works because of his background in real estate, right? Like he has to have some understanding, but a lot of these are forecasts. So you're not going to see the impacts of these tariffs for, a year, 8 months, months ahead, so it's scary to think
Nigga, buy
about.
rice and beans.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stock up, nigga.
No. Yeah. You got to stock up,
Stock up.
but I don't know, man. It's just weird. All right. Next promise, create an internal revenue service to collect external, excuse me, not the IRS, an external revenue service to collect tariffs. Trump signed an executive order on Inauguration Day directing cabinet officials to investigate the feasibility of establishing an external revenue service. A report was due April 1st. The White House has yet to announce any further action. So yeah, we don't know if that's going to be kept. That promises TBD.
Hey, guess. Hey, let me say this. If he creates an external revenue service through executive order, I bet that fucking money gonna be missing.
Yeah, it's like
bet y'all. Hey, everybody's talking about like, nah, he doesn't need the money. Why would he still? He wouldn't need it. He don't need the money. He's already rich. That's not how that shit works. And it's always more money, nigga. They always want more money.
Just because he has a lot of assets doesn't mean a lot of that money was liquid either. So hence his liquidity could come from those donations that he had from his campaign, you know,
which he pocketed. Because niggas ain't never seen that shit again.
You know,